to run or fight. It's survive, right? It is what you do when you're in survival. And so my adrenals had been in survival probably since I decided at 5 years old I wanted to be a doctor, because at that point I realized I got to be perfect in order to get into white man's medical school. Okay. So right? So I had been pushing and pushing and pushing myself, and I finally tested, and I had like a literal flat line. Like I was supposed to have like this beautiful, nice curve, and there was like no curve at all in my adrenals. And that's when I realized, like, oh my God, I have stress related hormone imbalance. I have hormonal symptoms that are caused by stress. And my stress was so high for so long that I didn't even realize. I was just completely oblivious to stress, to the stress. And so as I recognized that stress was my common denominator, that's when things skyrocketed for me in my business, because I started recognizing those patterns in everybody. And once I started doing that, then I started to get to more diseases faster. People started feeling better faster. So that's why I'm on fire about teaching people about stress, because it's really, really important. But there's a couple of other issues that I also want to address for us as Black women. Because why did this pattern really exist in me, and that pattern exists so much in Black women? So I named this, "Are We Selfish?" The top 3 mistakes Black women make that are sabotaging their health, because we have been taught not to focus on self, right? Not to value self. And so I'm going to kind of explain as we go through. So I have the top 3 mistakes. We're going to count down from 3 down to 1, okay? So the first mistake, the third mistake, is not putting on your mask first. Okay? The second mistake is not listening to your body, listening to the signs, listening to the symptoms, listening to your intuition. Okay? And then the last one is ignoring stress and overwhelm. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about mistake number 1. Okay. Let's talk about not putting your mask on first. I remember when I was a really young doctor, like early, I was practicing in Washington, D.C., although I'm from New Jersey. New Jersey was not ready for naturopathic medicine when I graduated. They weren't even ready for acupuncture when I graduated. So I started practicing in Washington, D.C. And one day, this amazing person walks into my office and eventually became my mentor. It was the late Dick Gregory. And he like just had this affinity for me. We had this immediate affinity for one another. And so he was like, "I'm going to mentor you, because how does a little Black girl from East Orange become a naturopathic doctor? You got something that the world needs, and I'm going to help make that happen." And so at one day when I was treating him, he was like, he looked up at me and he said, "Who's treating you?" And I was like, uh, uh, like I was being, being a superwoman, taking care of everybody else. And my health was going downhill. And he could see internally that I was struggling. And he knew that I couldn't really go to a whole lot of other people, because I was the go-to person. Everybody was coming to me. I mean, the doctors, the lawyers, the senators, like everybody. I had the opportunity to treat a lot of people of power in when I was in DC and Maryland. And because you treat one and they tell everybody, right? So he was like, something like, you're gonna have to fix that. So I did immediately. I started to put together my care team, of other practitioners that did things that were different from me. But I recognized that I had access to that because I had a whole community of people that I knew, because I was in that wellness community. And I recognized the average person has no idea that they need a care team, that they need multiple people as their health advocates, right? So one of the most challenging thing for Black women is that because of that, I feel like we postpone you postpone your self-care. You postpone your care, right? This is a real stress related behavior, and it's like ignoring your physical symptoms, and because until they're so bad that they can't be ignored. Now I know some of y'all need to raise your hand because we all in the same place. Like, oh, I'm gonna just put that off, and I'm gonna just put that off, and I'm gonna just put that off until it's like, oh my God, this is so bad, right? That I can't. That is definitely an experience. I think that's higher in the Black female than it. I mean, also because we don't distrust, we distrusted medicine and all of those kind of stuff, right? So that's the experience that landed me in surgery. That's the experience that took down my health. And unfortunately, when I was in surgery, because that doctor made a mistake, that was the mistake that really made my health never be the same again. Because I waited so long, even though I was eating perfectly, right? And I was exercising and I was doing all the things necessary to maintain my health. My stress was so high that it just negated all of that good work I was doing. Okay. So, so why is self-care something that's slipping through your fingers? Right. Because you try. I know you have. Like, I'm not saying that, we just are sitting around doing nothing, right? You try to create a regular routine, right? Try schedule your spa days or whatever, go to the beach, do what you want to do, you join the gym, right? And then all of a sudden those bad habits just sneak back in, like just like almost like rapidly, like within weeks, right? Because you haven't been in the gym in weeks, you canceled all your spa dates, you start eating leftover apple pie that you had for breakfast with your with coffee, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. The spinach you brought for your smoothie is wilting. and you're going to bed like at 2 o'clock in the morning again, right? So why can't we stop this? Right? Why is it when we know this is the behavior that doesn't put us in health, in a state of health? Why does this happen? It's because we put our everything. We put our families, we put our jobs, we put everything before us. Now, many of my patients actually say they feel guilty. Like, I physically feel guilty and mentally drained, and I don't feel unhappy if I take care of myself before I take care of anybody else. And that's why we talked about being selfish, right? It's because being selfish, women that do that kind of stuff are called selfish, and it's negative. Oh, she ain't taking care of her kids, or she not doing this and she doing that. And I remember when I was young, my dad got divorced when I was about 6. And she found another guy, and they've been together ever since then. So my stepdad has been around for almost 50 years, really 50 years, I guess, right? Because I'll be 56 this year. So I remember my mom would go away. Like, she was my mother from North Carolina, bro. But she was like, I'm going to Trinidad. They would go to Trinidad. They would go to the island, to the carnival, right? And then we would, travel in the summers. And my sister and my brother were older than me, so they never wanted to go. They wanted to stay out, and when they wanted to hang at home. And I was like, I'm traveling. So I got a chance to go places. But I remember people looking at my mom and thinking like she's a bad mother because she's going on vacation, right? And not taking her kids. And my mother actually intuitively knew enough about the fact that she was working 2 and 3 jobs, right? So she wasn't like, she was working hard for those vacations. It wasn't like she was just like throwing the rent money away or throwing the mortgage away, right? No, she wasn't doing that. She was working. She was like, I got my mad money, right? Like, I'm gonna work this part-time job right here so I could travel, right? Because I need that for my self-care. And I always looked at that, and I never considered that selfish. I always considered that self-care. And I always appreciated my mom for teaching me that so young, because it was, that's really something important. But it's been ingrained in us. And I think it's from as descendants of slaves. Okay. I think, taking care of master's children, not having time for our own, being mentally programmed to feel guilty because all those years, all those hundreds and hundreds of years, you had children that were growing up with the mother possibly in the big house taking care of the other kids, right? And her kids are suffering you understand what I'm saying? Like, we got all of these mentally programmed, like these programming that has never been turned off, right? And so we feel like, oh, now we have to take care of everybody else. But listen, the airports, they got it right. Because what do they tell you? When you fly, the directive is put your mask on first before you put the person, you help the person next to you, right? So the rest of the world gets it. Okay. The rest of the world gets it. They know that they got to take care of themselves first before they can take care of anybody else. But for some reason or another, again, who knows, multiple different reasons, we're not getting that message. And not getting that message is breaking us down. It's causing diseases. It's why Black women are dying at alarming rates from preventable diseases. So when we really talk about self-care routines, we want to think about, like, what routine are you doing right, or are you thinking of, or did you start that you're putting off until tomorrow? Like, what is it in your mind that you want to do, but you're just pushing it off? Eating organic, cutting out coffee, trying to do some yoga or Pilates, or, that you keep scheduling, you keep canceling, you know what I mean? Like, Like, how often and how long can you postpone or ignore your self-care before your body starts to talk back to you? Okay. And what decision are you going to make today before we finish talking about what you're going to do for yourself? Because my job is usually to help people figure out that reason, and decide that action to take, not something that you're forced to do, right? Because if you're forced to do it, you're never going to continue, right? It's got to be something that you can put into your everyday value-based routine, something that's attached to stuff that you're already doing. So therefore, you don't have to go out of your sphere to get it done. Okay. And that's usually food for me. I live in a world where my food is my anchor. Like, I don't travel without food. I don't go to a hotel unless there's a health food restaurant somewhere near me, and I always have a refrigerator in my room. If I'm going to be gone for too long, I might carry my Vitamix with me. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not perfect when it comes to my food, but I do make sure that that's a priority. And everybody around me knows Lisa got a suitcase of clothes and she got a suitcase of food. Okay. because I know that at least if I'm going to be all stressed out and crazy and all kinds of stuff, that my food's going to be right. Okay. So that's already part of my daily routine. I don't have to do anything right with that. Now, my thing is I got to exercise more, but that's a whole nother conversation. So, so what are we going to do? Cause I got that plan and I got that strategy all set, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's what is the one thing that you're going to add to your list that's going to make your life better, that's going to change the game for you. And once you can make that thing a habit, then you make the next thing a habit. You add something. You don't take on 5 things at once. That's not going to happen. That's not going to help. You're going to end up letting all five of them go. So you just choose one. All right. Now, mistake number 2 is not listening to your body, the signs, the symptoms. I call it turning off your health guidance system. Right. Because, we all got GPSs, right? Everybody's got them on their phone now. So we have a health guidance system. We have our intuition. We know when we walk into a room and we're not welcome, right? We know when we go somewhere and the energy is not right, right? We know we shouldn't do something, but we do it anyway sometimes, right? I remember listening to Oprah one time, and she said the only time her world has ever gone awry is when she didn't follow her, we didn't follow her intuition and didn't follow her gut. Whenever she follows her gut, everything turns out. Now, it ain't easy, but it always turns out well. So we don't just have an internal guidance system for our world. We have an internal guidance system for our health. Now, I've been through some stuff. Okay, so I'm not. I always tell people there used to be this commercial back in the day for the hair club for men, and it was where they the guy put hair plugs or wigs, I don't know, whatever he was doing, and he used to say his commercial was, I'm not just the CEO, I'm a member. And then he would show you his hair piece, right? So I tell people, I'm not just the CEO, I'm a member. Like, I live what I practice. Like, this is not like, I'm not like, oh, like I said, I'm not perfect, but I do this. So, and it's because of the experiences that I had in my life. So, can you imagine being in your 20s and you go to your doctor, your OBGYN, and she's like, I'm sorry, we got to remove your uterus because we can't stop you from bleeding. This is what my OBGYN said to me when I was in my early 20s. And I was like, this is some bull, right? I was so mad, right? It got me so angry. And because I was already in the realm of medicine, I knew what she was saying wasn't accurate. And at least it wasn't accurate at that time, right? I knew that she was not treating me with respect. And of course, I understood mostly why, right? And so instead of letting that anger turn into something, it turned into curiosity for me. And that's when I switched out of the Western medicine world and started studying natural medicine. And, my primary question in life is why. Like, why? Why is the question for everything. And it was my job to figure out, why are the only answers for Western medicine drugs and surgery? Why? Like, drugs and surgery are 400 years old, 500 years old, even though they were doing surgery in Egypt, but that's a whole nother conversation. And also, Chinese medicine ain't Chinese medicine, it's Egyptian, but that's a whole nother conversation too. So anyway, so 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 the thing that I recognized, since I was already in the pre-med, and I was, I just said, so I'm a postpone medical school, and I'm going to search, I'm going to study. And I studied. And when I found natural medicine, that's when I decided, something, I'm going to study this medicine. I'm not studying the other medicine, because the other medicine tells women, that they don't have control over their health. They don't have control over their life. It tells people that you're going to have to be on drugs for the rest of your life, when it's not true. Right. So I really, that study took me back, like, to my ancestors, took me back to the, ancient healing method. It took me back to so many other areas that I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to, then the discernment at that young age to say, listen, I'm not going to listen to them. What I'm going to do is follow my intuition, right? I'm going to follow what I know to be correct. And that's what we have to do, right? And, it's the challenges is that, especially as women of color, we have like severe physical, mental symptoms. We have things like energy, brain fog, weight gain, insomnia, hormone imbalance. Like, we have this stuff every day. Hair loss, like all these things that show up on us that are just normal, right? Regular stuff that Western medicine don't have no answer for, right? Not one answer for, right? And so, we show up in the office, we have that we're strong, or we're ignoring the symptoms. And then eventually we're the ones that suffer. And it's ridiculously unfortunate that Black women, even when you do reach out for help, you get underdiagnosed, we're misdiagnosed, We're shuttled from practitioner or from specialist to specialist, and they're only looking at the symptoms, never getting to the cause. And studies have shown, studies have shown that postponing medical treatment and long-term health it has like a negative effect on overall. Like it changes. We go from an untreated disease goes into chronic and severe symptoms. It can go very, very quickly if not treated. So avoidance, medical care avoidance and postponement leads to poorer health outcomes. This is why we have diabetes and kidney disease and high blood pressure and heart disease, and we die at younger ages, because the things that we should have addressed when we were in our 20s, they just ignored, and they've taught us to ignore, right? So the key is to recognize that kind of behavior is actually sabotaging our health. And that's why, I get such, I think I mean, I love my patients. We're so close, right? But I love the fact that they get such great results and their world changes, because one of the reasons why is because I'm committed to being a medical detective. That's like my middle name, medical detective, right? Because if we can't get to the root cause and we're only focusing on the tip of the iceberg and not the iceberg below, we will never be able to deal with disease. So I'm like the medical detective on the front end. I'm making sure that I'm finding the cause. And on the back end, I'm the coach. On the back end, I'm doing the work, walking with you to support the changes, because it ain't easy, right? Life shows up, and the whole, here, take this pill, even a supplement, okay? You know what I'm saying to you? Even most of the naturopathic doctors are like, or holistic doctors like, take this supplement and I'll see you in a month, or I'll see you in 6 weeks, I'll see you in 8 weeks. That can't help, because if you could do that, you didn't need them. What you need them for? Right? But the system is not designed to really give them the opportunity to support you on that level. So that's why I work as a coach on the back end. So I'm your doctor in the front side, okay? But on the back, I'm your health coach. You see what I'm saying? So I have to actually put on two hats and change the whole medical model in order to be able to move through people through their process. Because what I was taught doesn't get us there. Okay. You see what I'm saying? And it's been a long process of trying to really figure out models and processes and structures that will support people. That's why when she said in my bio, I was able to help over 10,000 women, is because I can't do that one-on-one in the office. I can do that in groups. I can do it in memberships. I can do it in all kinds of ways that then allow me to give people support ongoing, instead of a high one-on-one medical visit, which ain't gonna tell you nothing. Right? I put my information in the back of a portal, in videos and content and all that kind of stuff, so I can spend my time with people getting to what's really the problem. Like, I have plenty of patients where I have to tell them, you got to quit your job. You got to change your job. You got to leave your husband. I mean, like, I'm telling you, it is deep. The stuff that we have to do, because the stuff that I have, one of my best friends, she has been working for years to launch her coaching business, and she's got some GI stuff, and I keep testing her, and we keep doing the work, and I said, it's not going to change until you quit your job. Okay, you go in there every day, or you on the phone with these people every day, and you hate it, and your GI tract is not going to change until that changes. It is making sure that you don't live a life less than. That's what the symptoms are here to tell us. They're not always, just some physical thing. It's meant, we are mind, body, spirit. And so any part of that disconnect is going to show up in our body. You see? It's deep. Let me tell you, I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay. So, you know, that health guidance system, if we're in tune with that, you know, then that supports us in making different life decisions and make faster decisions, and to be able to then do the work, right? So if you think your health guidance system is asleep, we got to wake it up. We got to begin exercising it. We got to hone it. We got to listen to it. We got to let it guide you and let it heal you. Okay? Because the truth is that you have all the power. It's like in you. It's not out there. It's in you. And my goal is to help you see it and bring that power out. That's the other piece of the puzzle. Now, mistake number 1 is ignoring your stress and your overwhelm. Okay. So we ain't gonna belabor this one, because I mean I might need to, because this is a whole lecture, you know. This is a whole lecture. But you know, research will tell you 77 or more % of people have regularly experienced like physical symptoms caused by stress. 77%. 77. I mean, to me, if something has a 70%, a 70 plus or almost 80% likelihood, that's a pandemic. That's an epidemic. Western medicine has nothing for it. Okay. So, you know, since stress is this silent condition, and I think is one of the biggest problems that we experience. Okay. People don't really understand the negative effects that it's having on their health, because it's so quiet, right? It's pervasive, it's small and nitpicking, right? I believe stress is the nation's #1 killer. Bump the pandemic. Let me tell you what, the majority of these people that have passed away and died from COVID, I bet if their underlying conditions had been treated and their stress was reduced, it wouldn't have hit them as hard. That's why America had the highest and has the highest death rate, because we have lifestyles that just plain suck. They just suck, right? And nobody is willing to admit that. I mean, I've done so many radio shows where they're like, uh-oh, dun, 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 here she comes, because she getting ready to tell everybody, and the hosts are like, yeah. And then, you know, I get the Western medicine doctor who's, you know, all buttoned up and, you know, wow, we can't talk about the blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we can, right? Fauci and all the rest of those people have said nothing, not one thing about lifestyle change. They said, wear your mask, use hand sanitizer, which is toxin, which is a whole nother toxin that you're putting in your body. Wear a mask, which means you breathing back in your toxins, right? Like all these things, they keep saying that's protection, not prevention. Prevention is, why did the grocery stores have empty toilet paper and the vegetable aisles were full of food? Right? Like, there is the answer right there. Right? So we can attach, well, Western medicine can attach stress to heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, diabetes, autoimmune disease, colitis, irritable bowel syndrome or irritability, rheumatism, depression, migraines, like insomnia, fatigue, hormone imbalance, sexual problems like fertility, skin disease, allergies. I mean, overeating, asthma, kidney disease, breathing problems. I mean, we could be here all night and I could tell you almost every disease from the naturopathic medicine, because that list that I just gave you was probably a normal Western medicine list. But if it was a naturopathic or a holistic or a Chinese medicine list, it would be every disease known to man on that list. Okay. So the biggest problem is that we've embodied stress as our normal lifestyle. And I know I kind of still slide up in and out of there. Like, I'm recovering. right? Like I always tell people, I'm a recovering type A workaholic. Like I'm in recovery like every day. I have to say one day at a time, okay? Because I love what I do, so I work a lot at it. And I had to force myself to stop and slow down. Period. Okay? So imagine I got stressed from what I like. The average person is doing stuff they don't like. So my stress might not be as rough on my body because my cells are not as unhappy while I'm doing it. Like a patient came in the other day for carpal tunnel. She had surgeries and all kinds of stuff, and she was trying to prevent from having surgery on the other hand. And I was like, "What do you do for a living?" And she was like, "What's that got to do with it?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, not the repetitive motion. Like, do you like your job?" And she says, "Well, right now I'm on disability because I can't even work." I said, "Did you like your job when you had it?" It took me like 7 questions to get her to admit that she didn't like her job. So you know how hard it is for people to admit stress and all kinds of stuff. Like I wasn't the CIA. I wasn't going to tell nobody that she didn't like her job that she no longer have. She couldn't even admit that she was doing something all her life that she didn't like. And I told her, as a result, your hands rebelled against you. It said, we ain't doing this no more. So you could do it if you want to, but we not. So I said, this disease showed up to stop you from doing something every day that you were doing, even though you hated it, right? So it's so much more, it's so much deeper. Like it's so much deeper than that, right? Like we are so magnificent. Like every part of us is attached. Like we can't separate the body, we can't separate the mind, we can't separate the spirit. It's all in us. And when they're not happy, we not happy. Okay? And because we're spiritual beings in a physical body, we have to have a physical experience, i.e., a symptom, even if it's in the spiritual or the mental emotional realm, because we only recognize physical issues, I mean, I would love to be so evolved that a spiritual issue would come up and I'd be like, got it, aha. I don't have to do any more work. Done. Right? But I'm not there yet. Okay. I'm not there yet. Most of us aren't. We would love to be. That's what I work. That's what, transformation and evolution and, all the work, transcendence, like that's what all that's about. Right? It's about getting closer to that place in that space, but I ain't there yet. Right? So I know, right, that I was patterned. I'm an ex-athlete, right? So I was a straight A student. I mean, straight A's. Okay. Like I'm telling you, when I tell you I pushed myself, my mother was like, I found your perfect attendance certificates for the last for 15 years in this box. And I was like, yeah, you made me go to school every day. Like you didn't give me no break. She was like, screech halt. No. I never put that pressure on you. You put that pressure on you. I just was like holding you to it. Since you said you want to do it, I was like, if that's what you want, that's what I'm going to hold you to, right? So we put all kinds of pressure on ourselves that we don't even realize, right? So even as an athlete, I was taught pain is good for me. Pain is good for you. If you're not in pain, you're not working hard enough. Medical school taught me intense stress. That's normal. We put you in stressful situations to see how you can handle it. We're patterning you and we're preparing you for stress, right? So I consider that normal. So when it started creeping up, I was like, that's normal. I can handle it. My body was like, no, you can't. My body said, right? And so that's what's happening to us. Like disease manifests right? And because it's a stress, a silent thing, we're kind of waiting for the physical symptom to show up. That's the opposite of prevention. See, our job in natural medicine is to prevent, not just to treat, right? And again, that's why, and I'm saying when I say Black women, I also mean Black men. I mean, that's why we have so many diseases in the Black community. Because, you know, and I got to say, this wasn't even in the talk, but I got to tell you this. Somebody called me the other day asking me if I could help them with their blood pressure. They were 34, so 34-year-old male. And I said to him, "You on medication?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Is your medication working?" He was like, "Kind of, but I don't really want to be on it anymore because it has some side effects he wasn't interested in." You know what I'm saying? Right? You know what I mean, right? So hey, you know, this is why most men come to me. I can just tell you that right now. So I said to him, "Dude, like, the reason why your blood pressure is high is because you're a Black male in America. Because every day you walk out, you in fear, right? Your kidneys control fear. Like in Chinese medicine, the emotion that is controlled by the kidneys is fear. Okay. The emotion controlled by the liver is anger, right? So they keep trying to give us heart medication and you know, what they call them, the hydrochlorothiazide, which is like a diuretic, and Lasix and all that kind of stuff to reduce our blood pressure, when they not interested in dealing with the reason why the fear is showing up. So I was like, well, if you're gonna work with me, what's gonna happen is we're gonna have a whole lot of work to do around the mental emotional stuff and the way that shows up. Otherwise, I can't get you off your medication. You see? Because even most medications don't work for us. Like we end up on like 3 or 4 different medications, especially blood pressure medications to control, because that one doesn't work. It works for 5 minutes, and then they put you on another one, and then that one doesn't work anymore, and they put you on another one, and that one doesn't work, and they put you on another one, until now they've burnt out your kidneys and burned out your liver, and now you got to be on dialysis and all kinds of other stuff, right? Not from the blood pressure, but from the medications, right? So what our job has to be, right? Our job has to be is to connect all those dots, and to do it in a way that really helps us to thrive, not to scare, because you know I ain't interested in scaring nobody, because I don't want to mess with nobody's blood pressure. Right? My job is to make you aware, because once the light bulb is turned on, I tell people, once you learn something, you cannot unlearn it. It's not possible. Okay. So there's one more thing: stress and burnout, twins. They like 2 peas in a pod. Okay. And so how can you tell if you're on the fast track to burnout? So I'm going to give you a few signs, like common signs that you shouldn't ignore, particularly if you're trying, that your stress might be high. Okay. So check any of these if you see, like, and these are just common, easy ones too. Okay. So you feel scattered, confused, or you have brain fog. Like you were like, what? I went up the stairs. I went up the stairs to get, I can't remember what I went to, like, where'd I put my keys? Or, you know what I mean? Just the standard, like, my mind's not sharp, and it's not, it doesn't get sharp until the middle of the day, after I've already, I gotta have coffee to for my brain to turn on, right? That means artificially you're using a chemical to stimulate you. You feel jaded, irritable, and cynical. I think that's been my norm. That's my norm. You feel wiped out, and most of the time, like, just, you don't wake up full of energy, like poof, like ready to take on the world. You like tired before noon. right? You're suffering from like persistent, regular insomnia. Insomnia, girl, oh, that creeps in. I'm telling you, people have so many sleep problems, and they don't. I mean, it's like that's another epidemic in our culture. One monk told me, I mean, we were at this retreat, and he said, sleep is one of the most important things we could ever do in our world. He said, if you think about it, if it wasn't so important, we wouldn't spend a third of our life doing it. And I was like, damn, that's deep. I didn't think about it that way. Like, literally, if we sleep the 8 hours a day that we're supposed to, that's a third of our life. So what do we think is happening when we sleep? All kinds of stuff to regenerate and do. Yes. And most of us get not even like half of that. You see? Or we never get into deep restorative sleep. So if insomnia is an issue, it means that the brain is trying to work some stuff out. If you like you have like work related tasks that you have to complete all the time, and and it takes you like twice as long to do as much as you used to do, right? Like, you're like, I used to be able to do that in 10 minutes. Now it takes me 45 minutes to get that done. If your social life is non-existent because you just work. Now that one might be a non-pandemic issue, but okay, these prior to the pandemic questions. And then if you're starting to suffer with multiple, even minor health problems, because what happens is it takes a little bit here and then a little bit there and a little bit here and a little bit there. It doesn't like hit you hard everywhere. It's things just start creeping up. And a lot of people keep thinking, oh, that's age. Oh, that's age. That's supposed to happen because I turned this. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not the case. So realistically, if we're on a clock, if we're on duty, if we can't relax, we have this compulsion to check our mobile devices and all that kind of stuff. You're pretty much on the, you probably kind of skating. You kind of right there near burnout. Okay. So what are we going to do? Well, how do we, people are searching online for stress reduction techniques and stress management and deep breathing and relaxation, all that kind of stuff. They have to do that because if they go in the Western medicine world, the Western medicine says, go take a vacation. That's how they manage stress. They tell people, oh, you're stressed out. Go home, go take a nap, relax. Like, if I could relax, then I wouldn't be in here with you, right? And the reason is because they don't have a pill and they don't have a surgery to address it. So they just poo-poo it. They just are like, don't exist because we don't have a drug or surgery to solve it, right? And there's so many studies, even though they could tell you this. There's so many studies. The World Health Organization has done a zillion studies about exercising regularly, eating right, getting sufficient sleep, finding satisfaction in your workplace and in your personal lives leads to less depression, anxiety, illnesses, heart disease. Like, they have all the research, but they don't tell you when you come into the office because all they want is to put you on a drug or a surgery because it doesn't really matter. So now we're back to the vicious cycle of not being able to keep healthy habits, right? Because if you're stressed out, you're not going to eat right. If you're not putting yourself first, you're not going to be able to maintain habits. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, this is a vicious cycle. And this is why it's so hard to get healthy in this culture, because you're going to keep postponing. You're going to keep doing it because that's what our culture is based. That's what this culture is based on. Right. So listen, I know I went heavy. I know I went heavy today, and I was trying to put a little, like humor in there. But, these old habits of like postponing self-care and waiting till the last minute and not being able to maintain, it's like this. I mean, it literally can't keep happening. Like literally, right? You have got to be selfish. So the question initially when we asked, are you selfish? If you answered no, we're going to change that to yes. Because self-care is not selfish. Period. Okay. All right.
That's a good one. Yes, y'all give it up for Dr. Lisa. She read us our riot act about taking care of ourselves today. And I was like, oops. Like when you did the question about what are you planning, but you're putting off.
Yes.
For me, it's going back and running 5 miles. Why? Because people in my neighborhood walk without their masks, and
Yes.
I don't like having to expose myself to the possibility.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, I'll just run on the treadmill. I'll just ride the bike. So you got me on that one, Doc. Okay.
And we all have something, we all have something or several things that you definitely know that the pandemic has put a kibosh on. You know what I'm saying? Like we know that the pandemic is, it's done some things. But if we were lucky and kind of followed the trend and the pattern, we actually recognize that the pandemic would have given us more time, more energy, more of everything to take care of ourselves. And a lot of people have found, like, dang it, I've been working too hard. Like, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better being at home, or I'm feeling better doing this, doing these kinds of stuff. So I was hoping that, a lot of people during the pandemic, would be able to step up their after it's over, step up their healthcare and keep those habits and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Go ahead. Sure. So yeah, just so you know. So that was kind of the first.
And I agree, because that was my thing too. I was like, what are y'all talking about? This is the best time of my life. Like, I'm just loving it. So we're going to open up. If you have a question for Dr. Lisa or a comment you would like to share, I'm going to give you this opportunity. We have her for a bit more today before we take our last little 20-minute break, and then we're going to come back and wrap up.
Dr. Lisa, and I have a little something for him too. So
I was going to ask you that, but I was like,
so
is anyone want to give a comment or question? Please unmute yourself, and you can talk to Dr. Lisa.
I wanted to ask you to repeat the topic, please, because I didn't get the topic.
Okay. So the title, meaning the initial title, it's really the key is, are you selfish? And it's the top 3 mistakes Black women make that's sabotaging their health. That's the title. That's the official title.
Yeah.
That was her way to build mistakes. The 3 mistakes were not putting your mask on first, not listening to your body or your intuition or signs, and then ignoring stress and overwhelm.
3 mistakes. Black women.
Okay, Dr. Lisa. First of all, we need more doctors like you. Like, for real, so down to earth and so transparent. Like, yeah. So stress for me is totally ignored, right? Because I just keep going and going. Like, I know that I'm stressed because of all the signs. I've had the hair fall out. I've had the weight gain in the midsection. I have insomnia like crazy. Diet is completely off. And I've tried to, since the pandemic, let me say this, I felt a whole lot better. It feels good not to have to, because it wasn't necessarily that I hated my job. It's just when you do so much to just get by. And I was working literally 4 jobs at one time with 4 children, and I take care of my father. So I never say no. I never really take care of myself because it was just timing for me. And it was like, okay, this has to be done. I'm the only person to do it. So no, you can't take a trip because who's going to watch the children? Like nobody watches my children really. And my youngest is still breastfed. And that's a stressor for me because on one end, I want to get him off. But on the other end, I know it's really, really healthy. So it's like I'm called.
How old is he?
He's gonna be 2 in April 23rd.
Oh yeah, he can stay. I mean, that's. So you mentioned like there were so many gems in what you mentioned, right? Like because life circumstances show up, right? And how do we do the work to get healthy and to stay healthy when we have these particular circumstances? And it's really network support. Like the thing that I heard that you don't have enough of is the village.
Right.
Okay. Because you have to have somebody and people who are going to be able to show up to give you a break. Period. Okay. So we're going to have to find, and I know sometimes we don't like, people around, what I'm saying? Like you got to trust people and all those other kinds of things. But that cultivated, like, but how do you have time to cultivate when you work in all those hours and then you're taking care of children, right? So it's like this double-edged sword. Like everything is kind of piling on top of the other thing. That's all prevented, and that's what I'm talking about. That's the place where we're pigeonholed into our experience. So you got to start taking one thing at a time and trying to solve it, right? Trying to move it. So community might be first. That would be able to allow you to have a little bit more time. Even though you're still breastfeeding, you might be able to pump a little bit, right? So that you can go out for a while and that kind of thing. But you got to have support. That's one of the problems that Black women have the least of, like the least supported on the planet when it comes to because we do it all, put it all on our shoulders, and that itself will lead to dis-ease. So what do you think of all of the things that you believe are issues? What do you think is the thing that would be the easiest for you to tackle, to change, to shift? Because all the things you mentioned are things that we have to shift.
So I started with my diet is where I'm starting at.
Okay.
It's trying to eat a healthier diet and just incorporate at least once a week going to do something for myself and by myself because I do have them in daycare. So at this, I've gotten to the point where, since the pandemic, I decided to work for myself. Right? I did like that, right? But I've even said, you know what? I think I need to put all of that to the side first because I'm not really hurting for money, So let me put that to the side and kind of figure out how to get back to me and find some happiness in me with the resources that I have. So that's where I started, and then maybe I can become a patient of yours. That'll help a lot.
Well, we got you with that. So is everybody eating healthy? Is the whole house eating like you're eating, or is it just you?
Half and half. So my oldest is 18, so he's gonna do whatever. The rest of them will. Sometimes I give in and give them what they want. My dad is not changing. He's like 66. He's not changing his diet at all. But I'll try to sneak. Sometimes I can sneak it in. They won't know the difference.
So what's he eat?
Horrible.
I mean, what? He cooks?
No, he doesn't.
Who cooks it?
I do, but then
so he can change because he ain't cooking it. Okay. This is you ever grow up in a household where they were like the food on the plate is what you eat, if you want something else starve, right? Right. So here it is, right? Now, I'm not saying it's gonna happen overnight. It's not. Okay. But as you start to shift and be able to make things different, but that kind of tastes the same, but that might still be healthy, they won't even know the difference. And so it's so interesting how like I've learned, because my family's from North Carolina. Okay, so soul food is like part of the fabric. So I learned how to make like macaroni and cheese, like all the things that like all the things I changed how we make the collard greens slightly and do all kinds of things to right. So when they eat this stuff, they don't know. When I was 25, I made a full it wasn't vegan because we're not vegetarian vegan, but it was a dairy free, wheat free. They ain't even know the difference. And I'm telling you, my family's discerning. Okay. Like if it even looks slightly different, they're like, what's that? That don't look like it used to, right? Well, those string beans don't look like the same. They're not the same, right? So you have to like do it a little bit at a time, but you have to put your foot down. Okay, you got to be like, listen, I'm not cooking 5 meals. Right?
Right.
I don't have time. I don't have energy, and it's not gonna happen. Try it. We know, because let me tell you what's gonna happen. He's gonna end up being so sick because of that diet that it's gonna be even more and even a deeper drain on your energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna lose him so much faster.
Absolutely.
So you got to be like, listen, I'm doing this in love. Yeah. I ain't bringing no Kentucky Fried Chicken up in here. Okay. If you want it, go get it.
Yeah.
But I ain't bringing it. Right. But you can do it slowly. But as you, all my friends keep telling me, girl, you need to make a cookbook. You need to do a healthy cookbook, a healthy soul food cookbook. Because I'm telling you, when the pandemic started, I was like, I don't know why, but I got this flavor. I want some banana pudding. I ain't had banana pudding forever because I can't eat dairy and I can't eat wheat, right? So I was like, I want banana. And so I went searching around, driving through the pandemic when all the shelves were closed, looking for gluten-free crackers or gluten-free. Right. I couldn't find nothing. So eventually I ended up getting it off of Amazon, and I perfected it. Like I got coconut milk, whipped cream, and I got this vegan, a vegan vanilla pudding and a vegan banana pudding, that you gotta make, but whatever. I cook, right? At this point, we gotta cook if we want to eat healthy. We gotta cook. Ain't no point. And so you can't buy your food out every day and be healthy. It's just not gonna happen. So I made it twice, and by the second one, I had perfected. So I had some friends taste it, and they were like, this tastes better than the original because it was so fresh and so different. And I found gluten-free vanilla wafers. You see what I'm saying? Like we could do it. It just takes a little bit more effort. And don't make big amounts because I have this habit of making like the whole recipe size the first time and it don't come out right. And I'm like, I just wasted all that food. I can't eat this, right? So just try in small amounts. But I'm telling you, if you sneak it in, just like a kid, if you like sneak some vegetables into a smoothie, they don't know. They just drinking it, right? Mm-hmm. Just change a little bit. Just do a little bit every day. So that will make less of an energy drain on you.
Wow. That's really good. And thank you for that question. We're going to be wrapping up. So if you really got a question, we want you to take your next question and try to make it a little more succinct so we can let Dr. Lisa give us our goodies that she's going to share with us on today. And then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back when we're done. I'm assuming it's going to probably get us to 1 to 15 after, and then we're going to take like a 20-minute break, and then we're going to come back. Okay. All right. Anyone else have a question? If not, then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lisa.
Yay. All right. So
go ahead, Dr. Lisa.
All right. So one of the things that I was thinking about, like, because I wasn't 100% sure of like where everyone is, because everybody's in a different place in their health and their well-being. So the way I usually help people assess it is by what I call a strategy session, or some kind of session where I speak to people, figure out where they are, determine what their needs are, and then come up with strategies to be able to help them. But kind of your situation is a little bit different, because I didn't know. I usually know what people's health challenges are. So I created a what I call it'll be called a holistic blueprint session. Um it's basically a holistic health audit, where I'll do a holistic health, about 45 minutes, where I'll do a holistic health audit, and then like a 30-day action plan, right, to get you started. um I'm really offering it because I want you to have a little bit more access to my natural medicine brain. Like, I want you to be able to pick my brain, and I can't do a lot of one-on-ones, but because your group is manageable, right? I can do that. So um the it's really designed to kind of help you figure out and achieve like that health and vitality that you want. um and it'll help you analyze your current health state, your lifestyle, your stressors, and like where you want to get your health to within the next 6 months. And then I'll help design a blueprint to support you with that. Okay, so it's kind of like a wellness checklist. Okay. What I decided to do was offer it for a $1 deposit. And then, and you guys gonna think I'm crazy, but that's okay. I'm a little crazy. So $1 deposit, and it's what I call value in advance. So after we have the session, if you feel like you've been given a nice strategy, and you feel like you've been served to your needs, then you'll be charged $97 like the day after your consult. That's for your session, for your blueprint, and then for your 30-day action plan. If you feel like I wasted your time and you don't feel like that you've gotten any value from the 45 minutes and from the session and blueprint, then you won't be charged anything. Okay. Does that sound like something that will work for you? Because it'll give me an opportunity to speak with you individually and kind of give you. And then from there, if you decide to do some work with me, whatever that $97 will then be, we'll take that $97 and apply it to any kind of programs or strategies, because I have so many different ones. Like, I have so many different options. We'd be here all night if I try to tell you like all the different things that I offer. But I thought that this might be able to support you. So I can put the link in the chat, but it's basically my website, drlisalewis.com/health audit. And you'll see a video, and the video will kind of explain the whole process. It's about maybe a 10-minute video that'll explain like what you need to do. But all you need to do is put down $1, and then you'll be able to schedule your appointment and do everything automated. Right? I had just set it up. It's so cool. I had just set it up right before you called. So I was like, yeah, take it on this. I'm so excited.
You are the membership portal queen. I'm still trying to catch up with you. I'm almost there. Almost. I gotta get the other.
I love me some technology.
I know.
I love tech.
That you were the one that hit. I was like, she said what? I said, wait a minute now. I'm doing. So I did set it up for one component of it, but I didn't do it for this other side. And I'm working on that this year to get both sides.
I got you.
Okay. We're gonna
help you.
Okay, please do. All right, y'all. So we thank you, Dr. Lisa Lewis, for coming in and really having us to rethink this ideal of stress, because we are in the middle of a transformation. We are in the middle of us making some choices and some changes in our life. That's just what we're doing. And so to come in here and hear how we also need to be paying attention even more to what's inside of us, that intuitive side, not ignoring it, our holistic health guiding system, right? I think I've screwed that up, but that's okay.
Yeah, the health guidance system.
Health guidance system, right? That is also another part of our innate information, our internal systems that are there, our soul level loyalty. Again, having loyalty to our soul on a soul level means you're going to know how to tend to your health. So we want to thank you. Y'all give her, the virtual, shout out, happy, hype it up, and
Oh
do
yeah.
that.
Remember, now don't last. I can't keep that open because I can't help nobody. We got to figure out how long y'all think y'all need to get to the page.
I gave everybody a week.
I'll keep it up for as
I
long
gave them a
as
week.
you guys need. You think
So
you
Lisa,
need it
I
for
gave
like,
everybody a week. Oh, I think she froze.
okay.
I gave them two.
Okay, perfect.
That's the same thing for
I
our
got
program.
you.
We give them a week for that special rate, and then after that, because you got to be about it right now. We're in the present, and we're still working on paradigms, and we're still working on releasing the fear and all that good stuff. So we'll give you a week, and you can call us like somebody called me last night. That was awesome. Or email me. So again, we want to thank you for being here. We're going to take a quick 15-minute break, and then when we come back, we're going to come back. We're going to chat this up. I'm going to close us out, and we're going to be done. The 10th annual Ayizan Inner Healing Retreat will be completed, and we'll be back. We'll be back. All right, y'all. Go ahead and take your break. I'm gonna put me and you in a breakout. If I can find it. Oh, where did you go? Oh, there it is. I went past your name twice. You know I'm crazy. Okay, so you joined, and now I'm joining.
When we remove the spotlight.